Alright, I think we're good. Hey everyone, welcome to another video. This is a new format I'm experimenting with. Basically it's a more low-key, less editing, less b-roll style of video where we just have a bit of a chat. I'm going to answer questions that were submitted in the comment section or perhaps in a community post, and let me know if this is a format you like or maybe if you prefer a different style. So let's begin this new series, I guess, with a comment which was just recently submitted. It says here, "Hey Cliff, I've just stumbled across your IRL stream guide playlist after planning to potentially IRL stream my first PAX Australia event, and will buy a mic, tripod and battery pack, as well as 2 phones that I already have. I was wondering if you have any other tips that aren't in your guide in terms of IRL streaming in general. Love your guide videos, I subbed." Thank you for that. So I've noted down a couple of things here on my other phone. So first we've got battery life, we've got connection issues, wireless audio issues, overheating and testing. So let's start off with the first one, battery life. For the longest time I've always used the mAh of a battery in order to know how long I need to live stream. After doing some research on this, there's more to it than just that one number. And in fact, it's not a true representation of whether that battery bank is going to cover your needs for IRL streaming, but it's a start. So what you could do is you could look at your phone's battery capacity. Let's say my Samsung has a 5000 mAh battery in it, and I get about 2 hours of live streaming out of that battery. If I needed to live stream for 6 hours, I would have the 2 hours of my phone, and then I would need a 10,000 milliampere battery bank in order to cover me for the other 4 hours. So that's an easy way of trying to figure out if your battery bank is going to cover you for the time you need. What that doesn't take into account is whether the battery bank is going to be fast enough to keep up with the drain of what you're doing on your phone. For example, my iPhone, if I let it drop below 50%, I notice the battery slowly dwindle until eventually turned off. Even though I had the capacity needed to cover me for longer, the charging ability of that battery bank wasn't enough. You could probably find out the numbers you need in order to counter that drain or the discharge of your phone. But in a lot of cases, battery banks don't give you all the numbers you need to be able to work that out. So what I suggest doing is look at the fast charging ability of your phone. Some of these phones, they have different levels of fast charging. They might have standard, which takes forever, could have a fast charging version 1, and then it could have a super fast charging. Now I recommend going with something that's fast charging, but not too fast in that it's going to cause your phone to overheat. For example, my Samsung can do 45 watt charging, but even Samsung recommends with that kind of speed, your phone should be off, shouldn't be doing anything as it charges your phone. So in that case, that type of fast charging, not really suitable. You could always test it out to see if your phone can live stream while it's on that kind of fast charging. But in most cases, I've got a feeling that the phone will drop it down to a slower fast charging mode. These are things you just have to experiment with your phone, how it handles battery efficiency. I would say go with some kind of fast charging, but not too fast, unless you've got multiple phones in which you can turn one off, have that at the super fast charging while you use a different phone, and then keep alternating. But this is a very big topic. For the next item on this list, I've got connection issues. Now you're going to encounter this whenever you've got hundreds or even thousands of people around you. All those wireless signals, their phones, they might be watching YouTube videos, they might be live streaming, they might be listening to music on their Bluetooth headset. So all those signals in the air, it's going to interfere with your attempts to live stream. So what you can do is what I've discussed in my videos, changing the resolution and frame rate. So rather than trying to do 1080 60 frames per second, you could drop that down to a very safe 720p 30 frames per second. That is good enough for most people. You want to make sure that you're using a codec and protocol like H.265 and SRT. These are more streamlined for IRL live streaming. I've talked about them in my videos as well. With mobile phone streaming, you can make sure that your streaming device is 5G. There may be less people with 5G devices. Next thing would be to bond your connection with another device. And ideally, if that's also a 5G device, it's going to help. It might also help if both of those connections are on different services. One may be doing well versus the other. Or you could do like what I have, and that's where I've got 2 SIM cards with the same provider. But you do encounter that risk. Let's say everyone at that event are on the same provider, you're going to hit some kind of bottleneck with your connection. But I think having some kind of bonding is going to help with your connection. Like 2 is still going to be better than 1. Next thing I've got on the list would be to lower your bitrate. If you have your bitrate set at a manual value of 5,000, you could try lowering that to, let's say, 3,500, 1,500 kilobits per second. Alternatively, some of the apps that I talk about have what's called adaptive bitrate. So it's going to attempt to go for the highest bitrate if it's available. Otherwise, it'll just drop down to something that can work. And finally here, regarding connection issues, I've noticed with the Larix-based apps, they've done some kind of wizardry where their broadcasts don't need as much bitrate. The Larix Broadcaster, Streamcast Pro, Streamcaster, they can stream at 720/30, I think at 1,500 kilobits per second, whereas some of the others, they need higher. So that may be a thing. You might have your primary app that you love to use, and then fall back on another app like, let's say, Larix Broadcaster or Streamcast Pro, Streamcaster. Next item on the list I've got here is wireless audio issues. It's similar to connection issues because, at least with a wireless mic, the signal has been sent via some type of Bluetooth. So once you're in an environment with that many people, it can affect your audio. It might start glitching. Maybe put the mic on the phone, perhaps ignore the issue and carry on. And finally I've got here, which is to switch to internal mic. So if the audio glitching is just really bad, use the internal mic. But in those cases, you have to speak closer to the mic. And even with a wireless mic, if you've got a lot of background noise, you're going to need to hold that mic closer to your mouth. And that way it's going to cut out a lot of that background noise. You can use noise reduction. It's going to help reduce that background noise as well, but sometimes it can affect your audio, so your voice will start to sound a little robotic. Consider that, and it's going to take some testing to make sure what is the best level to use. Moving on to the next item, I've got overheating. This happened a lot in Vegas for TwitchCon when I was there. The temperatures there were just super hot, long days. What can help to avoid overheating is to close out any other apps you're not using. You could try taking off the phone case, because the phone case may be made out of material which is going to cause your phone to overheat. That can help, and maybe consider getting a cooling fan of some kind that attaches to the back of your phone. So lots of different options. Probably the most important thing, testing your setup before the big day. If you turn up and you haven't done any kind of preparation, then you're going to put yourself in a really uncomfortable position. I've done this. Going to a smaller event of some kind is going to help a lot. You'll be able to iron out any kinks. You'll know what you can do to fix an issue. Let's say it's a bitrate issue or a connection issue. So you would have gone through all the steps, all the experience in an environment which isn't the big one, the most critical one. So yeah, smaller events before the big day, test your connection, lots of other people. Before the actual big one with thousands and thousands of people, you'll be able to know if the battery bank's going to cut it. Is it fast enough to charge your phone? Is it going to last long enough for the event you're going to go to? Perhaps you realize this 10,000 milliampere battery isn't going to cut it. I need more time to be able to live stream there, or maybe an extra battery bank. You'll have figured out what is the best resolution frame rate to use. Do you need H.265? Maybe you could use H.264 NSRT. Maybe if you're using a 4G phone before, but you've got a 5G phone now, or perhaps your support phone was the 5G phone, perhaps use that one as your primary streaming phone instead. Make sure you've got bonding set up. If you're new to any of these terms, I have videos on all of them. I'll have links in the description below. Bitrate is another important one. Figure out what is the lowest bitrate for you. Let's say you don't like the look of your stream at 1,500 kilobits per second, then perhaps that's the point where you go, you know what, I'm not going to stream this because it just looks really, really bad. You stop streaming and then you record the stream instead. That's another point. Make sure at a really critical event you're doing a backup recording. A lot of these apps that I talk about, they have that ability that you can live stream and also record at the same time. I guess it depends on your phone if it's able to do both of those things, but if you've got a pretty recent flagship device, it should be okay. And that's about everything. Those are all my tips I've got for today. If you've got anything new to add, I appreciate any additional thoughts you guys might want to add there. If I've forgotten something, I'm sure I have, and I could make another one of these videos. But yeah, I think that'll do for this one. So take care everyone, see you in the next one, bye.